Tonight on American Report, a Tennessee judge has just slammed the brakes on President Donald Trump's Memphis crime crackdown, temporarily blocking Governor Bill Lee's National Guard deployment and starting a 5-day legal countdown. On the surface, it looks like a simple fight over crime, but this ruling ignites a much bigger war over who really gets to send troops into America's cities, local leaders, state law, or the president's agenda. What most people missed in the headlines is the legal bomb the judge actually dropped. She didn't just say slow down, she essentially said Governor Bill Lee likely broke Tennessee law by calling in the Guard without a grave emergency, without a declared disaster, and without any formal request from local Memphis leaders. Under Tennessee's own militia code, those triggers matter. This isn't just a policy disagreement. It's a judge saying the rules for using troops inside a city weren't met, and that the governor may have stretched his authority past what state law allows. But the next part is even more revealing. To understand why this ruling hits so hard, you have to look at what was already happening on the ground. This wasn't a theoretical plan sitting in a memo. Trump's Memphis Safe Task Force, rolled out in September, had already put hundreds of Guard troops on the street since October. They were in support roles with no arrest powers, backing up a multi-agency task force that, according to reports, has made more than 2,500 arrests in just weeks. On paper, that sounds like exactly what a tough-on-crime White House wants to show voters. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. The judge is effectively asking, did you follow the law to get those troops there in the first place? It's not just about whether crime is bad. It's about whether the government followed its own rules while claiming to fix it. And this is where everything takes a turn. Because this fight didn't start in the courtroom. It started in Memphis City Hall and Shelby County offices. A coalition of Democratic officials, the county mayor, local leaders, state legislators, teamed up with the advocacy group Democracy Forward to sue over the deployment. Their message has been simple and sharp. No leader, not a president, not a governor, is above the law, and using military force to intimidate communities crosses a line. On the other side, Republicans in Nashville and Trump's allies paint a very different picture. They argue Tennessee law gives the governor broad discretion to use the Guard, and that this judge, described by one GOP leader as a blue city jurist, is making Memphis less safe by tying their hands. So the real question is this about protecting constitutional limits or about stopping a crime strategy that was finally producing numbers politicians wanted to brag about? What happens after this is even more critical. Because the most dramatic detail is not just that the judge blocked the deployment, it's how she did it. She issued a temporary injunction ordering a pause and eventual withdrawal of National Guard troops, but then stayed her own ruling for 5 days to let the state appeal. That means there's literally a legal countdown running. Guard operations continue for now, while lawyers race to higher courts to keep them there. And this isn't just a Memphis story. As hearings play out over similar Trump-era Guard deployments in places like Chicago, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and beyond, this Tennessee ruling becomes a potential template or a warning shot. If appellate courts, and eventually maybe even the Supreme Court, side with this judge's reasoning, it could redraw the line on when presidents and governors can send troops into American cities at all. And that's why, even though it starts with one city and one judge, this 5-day window out of Memphis could end up reshaping the rules for the entire country. So as this 5-day countdown runs, we're really watching a test case for how far presidents and governors can go in putting troops on America's streets. How do you think this fight should end, with the crackdown or with the court? This is American Report. Stay informed. The story isn't. Tonight on American